Hi everyone, welcome back to the video. In the previous video we left off where we'd modernised this thing, and today we're going to be pulling this apart again and we're going to be giving it a go with the CNC steel bolt carrier from Top Shooter. Now I don't think I've had any run-ins with Top Shooter before, so I'm not sure of the quality of their stuff, but let's pull this apart. Now I do remember this being a little bit, there's actually a grub screw there, I didn't notice that before. Maybe that's to tension it, but is this going to come off? Can't remember it being, maybe it was a bit tight and I just don't remember it. Let's close the stock so I can give it a bit of a smack, like that. I imagine that grub screw comes through the centre there to tension it on that, which I don't really need. You might be able to pull a bit of slack out if you have a bit of slack with that. We'll pull the guide rod assembly out, and then we're going to extract the bolt. To do that we need to pull the side handle out. While we do that, pull this out, it'll probably come out in two bits like that. And here is the bolt, and all we're going to be doing today is transferring this over to this one. So let's pull this out the packaging. I had been eyeing this up for a while, and I've had it for a while. Just haven't got round yet to doing it. So you'll see that with the Guns Modify ones, all this part is like separate and it's like fixed together, where the Top Shooter one, it's all in with the design. It looks pretty good at first glance, but we're going to find out together if this thing is any good. We're going to need a 3mm Allen key. So we'll pull this screw out the back and this one out on the front, like that. We can then slide this top assembly off. Be careful not to lose the wheels. Once we've done that, we can pull this piece out the top here, like so. And then this is the tricky bit, so we need to be careful here. We need to take this little E clip, C clip, whatever you want to call them, circlips. We need to tap that off. So let's do this very carefully. We're basically just going to tap now. The one jaw nozzle didn't come with this E-clip, but what I'd actually planned to do is I've got a set of E-clips and I was going to just assemble the steel bolt with the new one jaw nozzle, just so it's mostly there, and then I just need to put the top piece in. So with that E-clip removed, we can push the nozzle out. Of course, I've already got an end pass in there, so we don't need to worry about that. These don't have the movable sort of lugs on the nozzle, so we need to give this a clean lube it up, because it's been shot a lot since the last video. So there's our bolt. I don't think we need anything else off of it. This channel is obviously very smooth. Let's have a look at this one. It's very smooth as well, to be honest. Not bad at all. So we're going to take, I'm going to take the one pen. I'm just going to try and lube this channel up, just so it's not dry. I'll switch to the oil, just so we can get this nice and slippery, to move the lubricant up and down, which you'll see in just a moment, because these are very dry, fresh bolt. Just going to use the oil, which will spread round a little bit easier. Doesn't quite want to go in. There's actually something in there. I didn't notice. Maybe there is an E-clip in there. I'm going to assemble it and there's a bag. I didn't even know. They give you an E-clip. Wicked. So if I can get myself another nozzle that's not drilled through, we can probably build two bolts. Right. I wondered why it wasn't going in. Had no idea that was in there. So we're just going to spread this round, make sure it's nice and lubed up. It was said that the nozzle came with a tool, but it didn't. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to find a screw. Hopefully I can find something of the right size. and we can just use that to screw into that piece of the nozzle like that. We just screw it into the back like that, and it gives you something to pull on, and then when you're pulling onto it you can get this E-clip in. So we're going to do this very carefully. We're going to get it started like that, line it up, and then we're going to tap it on. Probably need something a little bit bigger. Let's use this. I tend to use flatheads for these because I can line up against the back surface. Like that, makes it very easy. And you just want to check that this is just, this little chamfer here is notched up properly. Once that's fitted, we can remove the screw, and we can take this piece in and we can load that into the top of the bolt like so. I'm going to get my grease. What do I do with it? Here it is. And lube up the channel where those wheels sit. We don't want it to be dry. Once that's lubed up, we can take the top piece of our bolt, set it on like that, making sure all the wheels go in where they're needed. Is this going to fit? He's getting stuck at the front. Like that, your wheels will fall off. Is it just a tight fit? Yeah, it's just a tight fit. Might have had a little bit of a crunch there. It's got like a stepped geometry, so I imagine they do that maybe to, or it might be a miss machine, I'm not sure. Either way, it's gone on. Again, rather it be tight than loose. So put these screws in. I'm just going to alternate between the two to make sure, as best as possible, we draw it down nice and straight. Like that. And there's our bolt fitted, and hopefully we've got, I'll be honest with you, it ain't much. It really isn't much. Maybe I can't feel it like this, but there really isn't that much weight in it. Like, even with these pieces together, it doesn't feel like much. So I can put this back together here, so that will latch into there like so. Going to take our grease, and we're just going to grease this channel up, because I've put quite a few rounds for this thing. So, and I'm going to put a little bit on the back here where it contacts the hammer. I don't think we really need to do it elsewhere. Like, you don't have to go silly with this stuff. So there is a channel which activates the auto sear, which is this one here. So we're going to grease that, make sure that's nice and smooth. And now we can reassemble it into the scarf. Pop that in, pop the recoil rod in, take our stock, which is a nice tight fit, like that. No, I can't do that yet because I forgot to put the charging handle in. Rookie mistake. So let's pull that back out. We always forget something, don't we? Need to line this up like that there. Put our charging handle in. Then we can reassemble. Put our lower in. Put our pin in. And there we go. See if it feels any better off the cuff. I think it's marginal, to be honest. But what we're going to do, I did shoot a little bit of video before this, just showing the gun firing. So I'm going to show you that now, and then we'll jump on camera when I'm shooting it with a steel bolt. So we'll get to that, and we'll be back in just a moment. Alright, so we got the Guns Modify GM Scar, as you've seen it, as I've usually got it set up. Guns Modify PMag, this is a version 3 PMag, I believe, yeah, version 3. Some .25s, doesn't really matter what weight we're running. And this is with the standard bolt, so we're going to give this a go. So we'll try and pay attention to the way this thing kicks. And some full auto. Nice and fast. Kick isn't bad, to be honest, but let's get to converting this thing to a steel bolt and upgrading the bits and pieces. So we're going to put new parts on it, new grip, new front end, but you know, we'll get to it and we'll come back after I fitted the steel bolt. So you'll have seen that small little snippet like this, but earlier on before I started modifying it, so it's still in its original format. But excuse me if I'm sweating here, it's so hot here at the moment. And we're going to test it. So I'm going to test it now, and then what I'm going to do in the editing is I'm going to apply them over each other, and hopefully we can see a difference. Honestly, I don't think we're going to. I think, I don't know, maybe we'll be surprised, but let's give it a go. So this is the Top Shooter CNC bolt carrier for the Guns Modify Scar L. Let's put it to the side a bit there. So we're going to do 10 shots. And now we're going to do auto, so let's dump it. Hopefully you can see it. I don't know. I'll have to get to Editor James and I'll speak you through it. So I'm going to leave you off here. We'll take a look at the footage backwards and forwards, and we'll give you my thoughts on whether this is something that you should probably pick up. Now, before we do that, it's very much modernised now. I really do like this gun. It's a little bit harder to get used to compared to my M4s because I'm just so familiar with the receivers and how they feel, especially MCXs. The Scar is a bit bulkier, but it's not too dissimilar. The front handguard is very comfortable. If I want to put a light on there now, because most of my lights are M-lock anyway, I can do that. There's not enough space here. These might look like QD points, but there's not enough space, so don't. You're not going to be able to be fitting QD slots there, but you could always put one up on the top here, which is what I'll be doing, because I've got one on the rear of this stock, which I still need to switch to the other side. I do need to put that grub screen, because I've just caught my hand on it. Let's see, 1.5. We've got dye-free Co. Tiger Claw M-lock front handstock grip, whatever you want to call it. We've also got a dye-free Co. Kung Fu grip on the rear. Running it with an EOTech at the moment, but that might change, and with the ACR stock as well. So if you want to see more on any of these bits that you haven't already seen, so fitting the end pass, fitting the stock, we talked about two stocks as one that you should buy and one that you should most definitely not buy. But if you want to know more about this, there's going to be a ton of videos on the channel, just be sure to check them out. I kind of like the two-tone aspect of it. I really do like this handguard, it's much better than the other one, and we're going in the right direction. If I go to a game where I want to use the grenade launcher, I'll just whip this off, put the original front end back on, and then of course we can fit the grenade launcher there. I don't think we'd be able, to be honest, we might. Maybe we just put a rail segment on there and it does indeed fit, but I've got the original front end there to do that if I want to run tag rounds. So very, very cool. We'll get to the editing, we'll see if this thing is worth your money, and then we'll close it off in just a moment.
after looking at the footage and shooting it a bit more, honestly, I don't really see the need for this product. Holding them both in the hand, I haven't weighed them, but there's no discernible increase in recoil felt or blowback action. They feel about the same weight. Could not find the scales for the life of me, but honestly, normally you can feel it. I'd say even if it does offer some kind of higher recoil, I'd probably, in my head, only give it like an extra 5%. So for the things that these cost, they're about $112 for this bolt. I don't think it's worth it for the GM Scar, but thanks for sticking around. Hopefully this footage did something for you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Check out the link in the description for the Jaeger Precision Discord. And as always, from me, Bench, and the GM Scar, thank you very much for watching, and we'll be seeing you in the next one.